Well, they've rolled out the red carpet, and no wonder. You might not remember one of these, but it's a live event. We're at IDEX, the International Defence Exhibition and Show here in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, the first of the aerospace events to happen properly in the world. And I tell you what, there's aircraft here, there's UAVs, there's radars, there's missiles, but most of all, there's people. Well, despite the doubts, the show went ahead thanks to the faultless operation by the Abu Dhabi authorities. We've been tested daily and masks are compulsory within the show. Social distancing is in place and followed, and stand visitors were restricted, but you know what? It didn't matter. More than 70,000 registered for the event and business was there to be done. Of course, there were some underlying concerns apart from COVID. The recent change in the American administration that saw the agreement to sell F-35s to the UAE put on hold, and warnings that there could be a halt to defence deals from the UK, USA and some European manufacturers could have been a dampener. But no worries. The US was here in number and signing cooperation deals with the growing local defence conglomerates.
You know, with the relationship, again, we've been in this region for 75 plus years. We've got very strong ties with our defense platforms that are here and need to be able to continue to support that. Obviously, as administrations change, there's a little hesitations here and there for what that's going to mean, but our experience, again, over 75 years, as those new administrations come in, we're able to work through that. We're able to continue to do work with these countries. Even President Biden himself made the comment that we're going to continue to work. That doesn't mean we're not going to be able to support the platforms and experiences that are already in the region to be able to do that for the defense of those local nations. We are confident that we're going to be able to continue to work here in this region and committed to being able to support the countries that are here and the platforms that we have here.
One disappointment when it came to a newer relationship was that Israel's planned historic presence couldn't happen due to travel restrictions, although some Israeli firms were able to come from other countries and show some of the technologies that are on the table for partnership deals, as Israel's envoy to the UAE explained.
We are open to cooperation. We have to decide and devise it, prioritize it. It's a process. It doesn't happen in a day, but it's a process. We want to start it. Unfortunately, COVID makes it a bit more difficult. It does make it difficult for people to move from one country to another. Otherwise, things would have, I think, happened way faster, which they are already pretty fast. We only signed these accords 6 months ago. Things are happening very fast.
And it wasn't just Israel that was affected by travel issues. Many from the UK were also hampered by travel restrictions on their return. But recognising that presence is essential in this market, where 50% of its defence exports heads, the UK did the right thing and called in the army. Major Rob Deane from the Defence Staff of the British Embassy in Dubai did a sterling job promoting UK space technology, innovation and including a swarm of lunar rovers for affordable space missions.
This is very exciting. This is representing the best of British technology when it comes to satellites and space endeavour. What we have over here is a company called Exobotics, and they produce small and very, very critical space enabling components, from thermal chambers through to smaller components. They also have here, as you can see, a very, very interesting looking end-to-end rover service delivered by a Cube satellite. They are keen to have something on the moon in the next 10 years. It may not look anything like this, but it could look something like this. Notice you've got the wheels on the bottom, and of course, much like the Mars lander, it would land with a bunch load of payloads and sensors and do some exploratory bits and pieces on the moon.
Military training is of course a great export, and Kinetic is present with its joint venture company Houbara and is providing aerial targets from the Kinetic range, but also to meet a particular local threat.
So we have the full spectrum of Kinetic's target systems available to our customers here, and it's interesting that we now have quite a lot of demand for the lower and slower targets, which we've had some time in the inventory, but they've become much more relevant as an accurate representation of the types of threat that forces in the Middle East in particular are facing, whether that's in Syria, Yemen and elsewhere, from asymmetrically generated drone attacks. So typically what we're seeing are, and you've had a look at the Snipe target, which is pretty much identical in terms of the physical size. They are becoming increasingly sophisticated and are able to deliver a payload that certainly is enough to cause quite a lot of worry and concern, and indeed damage to infrastructure, damage to aircraft at airports and so forth. What's typical of them is that they are made with materials that have a relatively low radar cross-section, and they fly pretty slowly, and they make very good use of GPS.
In terms of deals and launches, the UAE's own defence giant, now one of the top 25 manufacturers in the world, Edge, was capturing the headlines as it unveiled a new family of micro, mini and small multi-rotor loitering munitions called the QX range. It also announced a number of enhancements to products such as Desert Sting and Thunder precision-guided glide weapons. Well, this may be the way that large shows could be in the future. There has to have been a pent-up demand, and exhibitors had people lining up to stand out from the crowd. A bit like myself. Well, thank you for watching. I think this is the way events could be in the next year if only other event organisers get on board the same way they have here in Abu Dhabi. It's been a treat, and I wish you were here. See you soon. Goodbye.